They say when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, to which I say pooey. I do not want to drink lemonade. I want to listen to a 2-hour-long podcast with slides on how that lemonade was made and the chemical composition of it. This has nothing to do with the video, but it's a great analogy to the great university experience. I am proud and slightly ashamed that I have spent the majority of my life in education. Volunteering, tutoring, learning, I've done nearly all of it. And for me, graduating from university is a pretty big achievement. Like most people, college is the next given step in life after high school. A lot of people just expect you to go to college, even though the value of the degree has been declining faster than the US job market. But I'm not here to tell you that. I want to share my experience in college, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and if you should go or not. For a lot of people, that answer is black and white, but I want to tell you that you should think about it a little bit more before sticking with an answer. Of course, it is not all sunshine and rainbows as so many influencers like to spin it, but it's also not as bleak as it seems. So join me as I review the 4 years of my undergrad and show you what college is actually like. Before I actually sit down and review the different aspects of college, I would like to clear some misconceptions. I choose this because yes, college is expensive if you decide to not take any loans or get any scholarships or grants. However, I can guarantee you that it's not a waste of money if you advocate for yourself, and you're gonna hear me say that a lot. College is what you make of it. You won't get your money's worth if you don't go out of your way to learn, to ask, and especially study a little bit. That's just the reality. Especially in this current economy where everything is in a free fall, what's a little embarrassment, awkwardness, or even shame to get yourself somewhere where you want to be? Your money is valuable, but so is your time. Game is game. For recent high school graduates, this is a common fear. While yes, if you're going to some faraway institution, you are likely going to not know anybody. But this is a good thing. No one is going to know what you did in high school or anything before then. You have a chance to rebuild yourself, and even if you fuck up, you are not forced to see them again like in secondary education. People are actually busy, and they won't remember you if you don't want to be remembered by them. Meeting people is generally not that difficult unless you go to a very small institution. But despite that, there are always clubs and school events going on in many different colleges. Find something that suits you and you'll be well on your way to at least find your people. Like I said earlier, advocate for yourself. On the flip side, there are a non-zero amount of people who believe they can fly by college and expect to ball out once they graduate. Hold your horses, it won't happen. While I believe you should go out and enjoy partying and drinking, don't do it every day, let alone every week. I have known many people who just go out and party all day without a care for their classes. Non-STEM majors. Business majors. I was never a party person, and I never will be. I didn't even know where they were, probably in the Greek life area. But a little birdie told me that if you really want to party, go on Snapchat. Which leads me to the next point. Don't. Or do. I can't stop you. This is a huge misconception where people think they'll be studying day in and day out and constantly stress about the next exam. And to be fair, there is a little nugget of truth to that. Well, I'm here to tell you, fret not, it's not always like that. College is a time where you really need to refine your time management to succeed. Please, at least have a schedule for your classes and plan your time around them and not the other way around. Now, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I never had to study terribly often except for a couple of difficult classes such as calculus, physics, linear algebra. Okay, maybe I did have to study a lot. But despite that, I still had time to go out and explore. Every Sunday, I always went to some random part of town and just walked around. Don't cram, or at least keep cramming to a minimum. You'll eventually realize that a lot of classes are just fluff, so pick and choose your battles wisely. Generally speaking, you'll have a lot of time that it feels like you don't have a lot. Just think about what it was like back in high school. You're in school for nearly 8 hours of the day. You have a lot more control in college, but a lot of people don't use that control wisely. I sure didn't, and I wish I was a lot more structured and focused. In short, college isn't as scary as people and influencers make it out to be. For people going to college straight after high school, it eases you into adulting, which of course no one wants to do, but in college it makes it slightly more bearable. In my undergraduate days, there was definitely a lot more that I should have done and things that I regret, which is what the rest of the video will be about. I graduated with my bachelor's in computer science. Yes, that makes me a dime a dozen. No, I didn't do it just because I wanted to make a six-figure salary. Yes, those days are gone, and yes, getting a job now is so hard that dealing drugs is probably easier. No, I did it because I studied it before college and I've Pavloved myself into doing it. Of course, I could have picked a different major with something I wanted to learn, but doing the cost-benefit analysis, CS was a good balance between job prospects and my own personal interest. Choosing your major is stressful. Honestly speaking, nobody expects you to know right off the bat what you want to major in, let alone what you're going to do with the rest of your life. It's just not possible. Don't be discouraged if you don't know what to major in, and be open to switching midway. There is nothing wrong with it. People do it all the time. I've seen my classmates disappear mid-class because they switched majors. While it may not be the most financially responsible thing in the short term, it saves you from spending more money, effort, and time into something you don't enjoy for the next few years. So go out there, explore the different majors. Go in undeclared if you have to. Look at the classes that you would take in that major and talk to the department heads. What you'll learn quick in college is that you have to fucking ask. Asking is an extremely important skill because no one is going to magically figure out what you need if you don't tell them what you need in the first place. My personal recommendation is to take the required introductory general education courses first and see what fits your fancy. Do it regardless of whoever is the professor. Every major will have bad professors, but it's also balanced with good and okay ones. Some classes are 50 minutes long, but every day. Some are 3 hours long, but once a week. Some are at the crack of dawn, and some are near the tail end of the day. You don't really get the liberty of choosing when these classes happen. It's all in a magical black box. I had a class at 9 a.m. and sure, that doesn't sound too bad, but having to wake up 2 hours early just to commute there was genuinely the worst experience I've had. I'd get to campus feeling like a drunk salaryman outside a bar in Shibuya. I also had a class that was at 6 p.m. that went on until 8 p.m. and I would get in at day and then it's pitch black once I come out. I needed a flashlight to make sure I didn't run to an unsuspecting pole. Like I mentioned earlier, classes are something you plan around and not the other way around. Yes, you do have some degree of control by looking at different classes and sections, but generally speaking, you don't have a lot. As such, take whatever's the most convenient for you and plan your semesters accordingly. Some semesters, some classes aren't even offered, which is a real pain in the ass, so have backup classes ready. Other times, and you'll find this often, you have to take a core class during a given semester and it's taught by a professor who has a score of 1.3 and is at either 8 in the morning or 8 at night. That's just the way things go, unfortunately. On the topic of skipping classes, be very careful doing so because it genuinely is crack. If you skip a week worth of classes, you're cooked. You're never going to go to that class again. Trust me, I tried. It was impossible to go back after 1 week worth of class I skipped. Some professors are assholes about attendance and others just don't give a shit. But my personal advice is to always go to class. Come on, you're paying an exorbitant amount of money to be there. At the very least, sit down and learn something. However, I will say that if the class is already recorded and there's generally no objective benefit to being there, skip at your own discretion. Just know that I warned you. For a lot of people, you usually come in with college credits from high school. Use these to your advantage. A lot of people think you're stuck to the classes on your major's flowchart, but that's not true. As long as you don't hit your excess credit hour limit, which depends on the state, you can take a bunch of random classes and other general education classes even after you fill the state requirements. Hell, you can take classes on yoga if you wanted to. These are great to boost your GPA and also give you a break each semester since you don't need to take them that seriously. I was able to take anthropology, music, and Japanese even though I wasn't a major in any of them. They were genuinely interesting classes, and if I had the option, I would further my study in them. This is perfect for story time. If you're like me, you were a gifted kid. You had good grades in high school with little to no effort and were generally considered smart. College, however, is a different ballgame. I never thought I would be able to take college easy, but had the impression I just had to put in a slight bit more effort into getting an A and everything would be fine and dandy. Hell no. My university recommended that I retake Calculus 1 in order to brush up on my fundamentals, and let me tell you, when I failed my first exam, I had the biggest panic attack. It was not just scared of failing, but being unable to live up to my intellectual expectations. It turns out that the professor and his teaching assistant are just actual dickheads and assholes, and everyone in the class pretty much failed. But boy oh boy did it set me on par for the course. I was mortified, ashamed that I fucked up on something I thought I would excel in. It was an eye-opener to me. It showed me that I was not actually as smart as my expectations. And notice how I didn't say as I thought I was, because I never thought of myself that way. I put my expectations there because I thought they would be easy to achieve, and I didn't live up to them. You'll soon realize that this is how you probably feel. You don't really think of yourself as smart, you set your expectations that way, and when you can't make it for the first time, your image of yourself comes crumbling down. This is when I realized that I'm not just here to get grades and pass, I'm here to learn stuff. Eventually, you'll figure out that your grades aren't the be-all end-all, and if you fail a class, that doesn't make you stupid. It simply shows you that a better understanding can be achieved. Find joy in what you're learning and appreciate the time and effort it takes to understand and embrace the pain of studying, because I can guarantee you that there are other people struggling out there too. I would spend hours into the night at the library in study groups, studying for exams, and it was actually kind of fun. Even studying by myself, I look back at the work I've done and be surprised that I was even able to slightly understand what the hell I'm looking at. In short, take pride in failure, take pride in what you're learning, and go out there and ask questions. Again, like I said earlier, one of the biggest things you need to learn in college is asking. The grades will follow. Trying to explain college life is a little contentious because everyone has different experiences. You sort of gravitate to a particular lifestyle, and if you don't make any changes, well, that's the kind of life you're stuck with for the next 4-ish years. Unlike in secondary schooling, you aren't going to get pushed around to do this, go do that, come to this event that like 10 people will show up to. If you want to find something to do, you have to go out and, well, find it. There are events round robin throughout the semester, some official and some unofficial. The point is, you are independent and you will get the perks and pitfalls of it. I'm going to be the first to say it, but not the last to preach it. If you think going to college will somehow flip your personality even if you essentially do nothing your entire undergrad, then you are sorely mistaken. I emphasize that the idea of you won't change unless you go out and do it, because I find so many students get disappointed with their time at college because it wasn't what they expected. You are definitely affected by your environment, don't get me wrong, but your environment alone isn't going to stimulate change. It's really only there to support you. As such, go to therapy, go and try new things. One of the great benefits of college is that a lot of the things you wanted to try that feel out of reach are now in your hands because you are a student. Books, experts in the field, rentable computers, doctors, very dangerous explosives, whatever you need to start building and experimenting. Sure, they may not be the best quality, but you're paying thousands of dollars a year of tuition to be there, so you might as well use it. When it comes to actually living outside of doing college stuff, it really is dependent on your situation. Whether you're working, partying, studying, whatever it is, allow some time to yourself. And I mean no media, no phone, nothing. Just fucking sit there. Okay, maybe read, maybe drink some tea, because you're going to need it even if you think you don't. In short, be proactive, improve upon your weaknesses or play more into your strengths. The world is indeed your oyster. College is scary. For a lot of people, it's their first time being away from home, especially being away for a long time. I promise you though, you'll be fine. In my opinion, it will be a time for you to be able to craft your own story. Before college, you were mostly stuck in the same pathway as everyone else and subjected to do things that were generally out of your control. In college though, everything is less hands-off. If you want to go ahead and party all day long or study all night, nothing but you is stopping you from doing so. But understand your values first and decide what's best for you, because ultimately that's what it boils down to. In short, enjoy college, but put yourself in a position where you'll have the least amount of regrets down the line. Have a good night.